What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some crazy battles in the Open Great League where I was able to regain over 300 elo in just 8 sets, running Shadow Flygon, Celesteela with Smackdown as the save swap, and Shadow Skarmory as the closer. I'm running Smackdown on Celesteela with the specific intentions of baiting out a Talonflame, which thinks it's hard punishing a Skarmory, only to be hit for double super effective fast move damage. This actually only worked out once for me, not because my opponents were wise enough not to bring in their Talonflames, but because Talonflame wasn't as common as I thought it was going to be. But either way, I was often able to grab at least a shield advantage with my Celesteela because opponents had no idea what moves it could be running, and the team clearly still worked because I was able to go positive in every single set with mostly 4-on-1s. So with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. Which off-meta pick do you like to run simply for the fact that the opponents have no idea what moves it has? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle, and possibly the worst thing we can see in the lead, Whimsicott is going to resist everything, so we save swap into Celesteela, and there is our target. You can see Smackdown dealing huge damage. Unfortunately, we're not quite able to take them out before they make it to a charge move, so I settle and go for a Body Slam. Now the opponent comes in with a Poliwrath, and Poliwrath is actually a little bit tricky for this team to deal with, but between all three Pokemon, we should still be able to dispose of it, but the opponent does get a very nice farm down. Now I'm going to come in with my Shadow Flygon. I can't really afford to just let this move go through because otherwise the opponent can permanently debuff me with Icy Winds up against the Skarmory. So I'm actually going to double shield here, hoping the opponent's going to swap back into the Whimsicott, and they do exactly that. So now I'm going to swap into my Skarmory. I can absolutely hard wall the Whimsicott, and the opponent just concedes the match there. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, awful lead once again. So I'm once again going to save swap into my Celesteela. The opponent is choosing to stay in. They're going to fire off an Icy Wind. Clearly don't have an amazing response here. So Icy Wind is going to debuff my attack. They're still staying in. They're eventually going to swap into a Gligar. So Gligar actually gets completely walled by Celesteela and Shadow Skarmory. But now with debuff, these Body Slams really aren't going to do too much damage. They can let both of them go through. They will have to throw a charge move to get rid of me though. So they will overfarm a little bit, go for the charge move. Aerial Ace will be taking me out, and at this point I'm going to come in with my Shadow Flygon. Can't really afford to shield here because I think this should just be an Aerial Ace, so I'm going to let it go through. Aerial Ace is going to hit for some decent damage there. We get the farm down, and now I'm going to swap instantly into my Shadow Skarmory. The opponent did stay in for quite a while up against the Celesteela, so they make it to another Icy Wind already. We are going to overfarm here, throwing on the CMP tie with the next charge move, and the opponent is staying in, so they are clearly very weak to the Skarmory in the back. So at this point I'm going to have to start using my shields as the opponent goes for a second Icy Wind. That is going to double debuff me. They now swap into their Celesteela, and that's the reason why they didn't want to swap out. We go for a Sky Attack with double debuff. That does very little damage, but the opponent makes a huge mistake. This is going to be a Grass Knot. It is double resisted, so we're going to bank a Sky Attack, swap into my Shadow Flygon, and then the opponent makes another mistake by throwing on alignment, giving me a full Dragon Tail in for free. Now I'm going to farm to the back-to-back Dragon Claws. I hope this is enough to KO, and it does take out the Celesteela. At this point, we're going to go for a Dragon Claw. Could have gone for the Scorching Sands there, but it doesn't matter. We're able to grab the final shield, win a CMP tie up against the Dugong, and Sky Attack will be taking out the Dugong, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we're going to see Shadow Flygon into a Alolan Sandslash. And if you're wondering, wow, you're just seeing nothing but bad leads, I do kind of make the more entertaining battles towards the start of the video, so that's why. But here we're going to go and bait out a Charger Bug. And we are running Smackdown, so we're hitting for super effective damage, and the opponent respects the damage from that Body Slam there. I think if they let that go through, potentially we could double shield and farm them down. So the opponent does use their shield there. I'm very happy with that shield advantage. We're now going to come in with the Shadow Flygon. I can safely let whatever they throw go through. They do make it to 1 Scissor, that does quite a lot of damage, but they don't make it to a second, and now I have a Scorching Sands loaded. There's no point in baiting here. We've already got a shield advantage, and Scorching Sands takes out the Alolan Sandslash. They come in with a Shadow Gligar, and this is going to be a very easy game for the Shadow Skarmory as we can come in and go for a full Steel Wing farm down, so the opponent is just going to concede the match there. So once again, Celesteela there, not actually flipping switch advantage, but grabbing a shield advantage, and it did really well for me. But into the next game, another bad lead, and the opponent is going to come in with their Sableye, so we are actually not going to throw a charge move here straight away. Basically, what I want to do here is grab a shield advantage up against the Sableye. I know I'm not flipping switch. Bulldoze will not be enough damage to take them out. It's non-stab, not a great move, but we grab that shield advantage. Now we're going to come back in with the Shadow Flygon. Shadow Flygon is absolutely useless up against Alola Ninetales, so I'm actually not going to shield. They do have enough energy for a return, and they full send the return there, one-shotting the Flygon, but now it's all up to the Shadow Skarmory. Shadow Skarmory can hit for double super effective damage with the Steel Wings up against Ninetales, so I know if I can get rid of the Diggersby, we should be okay, but unfortunately they are running Fire Punch. That makes them a lot spammier, and also, instead of hitting for only resisted damage, they can hit for super effective, so I'm going to overfarm here in this matchup. I'm going to shield the next Fire Punch. We have to double shield our Skarmory up against the Diggersby, so I'm going to throw on the CMP tie. Sky Attack from this range should be taking them out, or nearly taking them out, so the opponent going to use their final shield. Likewise, I'm going to use my final shield. I know I can CMP tie them here, throwing on the CMP after 4 mud shots, and this Sky Attack will be taking out the Diggersby, but can we outpace the Ninetales here? It's going to be close, but we lose the CMP tie up against the Alola Ninetales, and unfortunately a Weather Ball takes out the Shadow Skarmory, and I do unfortunately lose that game, but GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, much better lead for us as we see Talonflame. The opponent's going to say swap into Lickitung, so I'm going to go straight for a Dragon Claw. Because they swap, they are 1 turn behind, so I can always get off that Dragon Claw before the opponent throws a Body Slam. And now we can come in with the Skarmory. I might even be able to fully farm them down at this point, because Body Slam's really not going to do too much damage. Obviously, the Lick damage will add up over time, but honestly, we can tank a 3rd Body Slam fairly comfortably. They do unfortunately just barely get there, but it doesn't really matter. We actually would prefer to have our Skarmory a lot lower in health, because now only 1 Incinerate will be needed to take us out, and we can get off a Brave Bird, grabbing a shield from the Talonflame, and at this point we're looking to be in a pretty good position. They will be able to grab that shield straight away back against our Flygon, because this could be a Brave Bird, probably going to be a Fly. It is a Fly, and the opponent has a Serperior in the back, so this is game over for the opponent. We can go for the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw goes unshielded. We swap, we catch the Aerial Ace onto the Celesteela. And just like Skarmory, Celesteela absolutely wall Serperior. We can just go for a full Smackdown Farm Down. As they go for the Frenzy Plant, that's double resisted, and now I'm not going to bother throwing a Charge Move. I'm going to go for the full Smackdown Farm Down up against the Talonflame, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Carbink in the lead, so not ideal for us. If we were running Mud Shot, then I'd actually say that's quite a positive lead matchup for us, but we're going to swap into Celesteela. Now, I was hoping the opponent would swap out straight away, thinking it's a Skarmory, but the opponent's actually going to stay in. They will shield there. We could, of course, be running Iron Head or Heavy Slam. I think we learned both, and they're basically the same move, but it doesn't really matter. We're running Bulldoze, and unfortunately, they do shield that up, but we can now come in with the Skarmory, and the fact that they stayed in there makes me think that they are quite weak to the Skarmory, so I'm going to let the first move go through. Rock Slide, not going to do too much damage. I'm hoping we can fully Steel Wing, farm them down, but they barely get there to the next charge move. And that is really unfortunate. I'm now going to use my shield here, and the opponent is going to come in with Azumarill. Now, this is quite scary for us. Azumarill going to completely hardwall the Flygon, but I go straight for the Brave Bird there, expecting the opponent not to shield the first one. Now we go for the Sky Attack. Sky Attack is going to grab the final shield from the opponent, and now we swap into our Flygon. I'm going to have to shield this up. Could be an Ice Beam, could be a Play Rough. Either would one-shot us, and the opponent has a Serperior in the back, so I'm going to go straight for the Dragon Claw here. Dragon Claw, not going to do too much damage, but the opponent actually doesn't farm to the Frenzy Plant. That's huge for me. And now can I go for a full Dragon Tail farm down? I recognize here that I'm not going to be able to do so, so I actually pause for a split second there, hoping that now I've left them with enough health to get the farm down and reach a charge move up against the Azumarill, but unfortunately we die as we get to the Brave Bird, and unfortunately Azumarill is able to bubble, farm me down, and take that game. But GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we're going to see a Whiscash in the lead. So I'm going to stay in. I'm going to shield the first move. They're very likely to go for Scald since it does have a chance to debuff me. We're now going to build up to the back-to-back Dragon Claws. The first one coming through. Dragon Claw will be grabbing a shield. Going to fire off the second one immediately. And if this doesn't quite KO, then I will swap into my Celesteela. I'm hoping I caught a Mud Bomb, but I think they are already at another Scald. So they go for the Scald. Luckily, oh actually I was going to say, luckily no debuff, but we do actually get debuffed, and the opponent comes in with a Lantern. but they don't go for the full farm down, so that's absolutely fine with me. Now, they're not switch locked, so we've got to be careful about how we play this. So I'm going to come in, wait out my full switch clock. We come in with the Flygon, and the opponent is going to fire off a charge move. I'm going to use my shield here. I don't know what their final Pokemon is, and the opponent's going to swap into Skarmory, so not ideal for me, but we can now bank a ton of energy, swap into our own Shadow Skarmory, and I'm going to let the first move go through. Of course, I've got no shields remaining. They've still got one shield, so what I'm going to try and do is force the opponent to go for a Brave Bird here, and the opponent takes the bait. They go for the Brave Bird, and now they are going to triple debuff their defense. I can go for a Sky Attack. Sky Attack actually doesn't quite take them out, but we get the Steel Wing farm down. We come out with a Brave Bird loaded. I'm fully expecting the opponent to let this move go through, but they actually shield it, and now we can just easily go for the Scorching Sands. But even if they let the Brave Bird go through, I could have just gone straight Dragon Claw, taken out the Lantern, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see Medicham in the lead. So Medicham going to be running Ice Punch. The opponent actually swaps into a Tentacruel. Now we've got 3 Pokemon that are going to be resisting the Poison Jab damage. Both the Pokemon in the back going to double resist the Poison Jab damage, but I will stay in initially here. I'm going to use my shield. This is enough energy for the Scald, and they don't get the attack debuff, which is really nice for me. I'm going to go for a Dragon Claw pretty much straight away. Dragon Claw grabs a shield from the opponent, actually both shields from the opponent, and now I can swap into my Skarmory. Scald isn't going to do too much damage. I will be able to resist a Steel Wing, farm them all the way down, and come out with a decent amount of energy. The opponent going to come in with their Medicham there, and then they swap into Azumarill, trying to catch the move, which is a smart play by the opponent. But now I'm going to go for a Sky Attack. I'm now going to go for a Brave Bird, throwing on the CMP type, but what I don't want to do is give Medicham extra farm, so I go for the Undercharge. I can now no-shield this Ice Beam coming through. Ice Beam will be taking us out, but I put them into perfect farm down range to get 5 Dragon Tails in, land a Scorching Sands up against the Medicham, and now I can just safely swap into my Celesteela. We've still got a shield remaining, so the opponent needs to make it to an Ice Punch and a Dynamic Punch to take us out there, assuming they bait, but we can just go for the Body Slam, taking out the Medicham, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see a Dragon on Dragon action in the lead. We're going to swap into Celesteela, hoping I could get the snipe with the Smackdowns, but I'm not quite able to do so. They're going to go for the Superpower, but that debuffs their defense, meaning the Smackdown does take out the Dragonite there. And now they come in with a Vigoroth. We're going to go for the Body Slam. Doesn't do too much damage there, which is unfortunate, but it is non-stab. We can now come in with our Shadow Flygon. We do have a little bit of residual energy, but not loads, so they will outpace me to the Body Slam. I'm going to fire off the next Dragon Claw as soon as I get there, and I know they are 2 counters away, I think, from the next Body Slam, so I'm going to go for 1 Dragon Tail, swap into my Skarmory, hoping to catch a move, but the opponent, if they do throw on good timing, is never going to throw there, and now they come in with a Whiscash, and once again, I don't feel like they're going to shield the first charge move, so we full send the Brave Bird, dealing huge damage there from the Shadow Skarmory. They will correctly overfarm just a little bit. We can just let this move go through. Scald will be taking us out, and now we've got to hope that they don't get the attack debuff here. Vigoroth is very low. Scald unfortunately does debuff my attack, and you're going to see we could have possibly just thrown a charge move there, and if the opponent shielded, I think they were on 1 HP, and if you don't know, it actually does 1 damage when the opponent uses their shield, so we probably could have KO'd them, but I wasn't 100% certain there, and unfortunately I didn't throw, and so we do end up losing that game. But GG's to that opponent there. Certainly if they didn't get the attack drop, I could have just obviously got that Dragon Tail farm down anyways, but here we're going to swap Catch the Move onto our Skarmory. And once again, this is a fairly comfortable matchup. I feel like it's more comfortable for the Shadow Skarmory just because Brave Bird is actually going to do a lot of damage. You can see even the Steel Wings have put them into range where we can just go straight for the Sky Attack, and Sky Attack will be taking out the Licky Tongue, and the opponent is going to wait out their switch clock here, and they will come back in with the Poliwrath. I'm going to go for the Sky Attack, thrown just before we go down, and I can see my switch clock is coming up, so I'm actually going to swap into my Shadow Flygon here, trying to snipe with a Dragon Claw, grabbing a shield from the opponent, and the opponent then makes a very nice catch, catching the next Dragon Claw onto their Celesteela. But this is really nice for me. Unfortunately, they do get the full farm down just before we make it to the next charge move. But speaking of farm down, I'm now going to come in with my Celesteela. I'm going to go for a full Smackdown farm down. I know our switch clocks are slightly misaligned, so they go for a Future Sight that does more damage than I was expecting it to do. We can still live the next Future Sight, and at this point, all I've got to do is bank a Bulldoze, then swap into my Skarmory. I'm basically forcing forcing the opponent to either swap out or throw their energy. Either way, it's fine with me because now we can go for a Bulldoze. Bulldoze takes out the Poliwrath and we can smack down, farm down Celesteela, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see another Shadow Dragon mirror lead. This time they're running Dragonair as their lead Pokemon. We're going to swap, we're going to bank a Dragon Claw, catching the move onto my Celesteela, also not revealing our fast move, but unfortunately they come in with a Clodsire, and this would typically be an awful matchup for them, but because they are resisting the smackdown damage, I think they can actually win this matchup, which is quite embarrassing for the Celesteela since we do resist everything. Since they have just shown that they are running Earthquake, they're probably running Sludge Bomb as the secondary charge move, but either way, doesn't really matter. We can just let the next move go through. It is the Sludge Bomb, we actually live that, and we make it to another Body Slam. Body Slam's still not going to do very much damage to the very bulky Clodsire, and they can resisted Poison Sting, farm us down, but they blind throw up against my Skarmory, and they go for another Sludge Bomb, which is fine with me. They now come in with a Licky Tongue. We are going to let the first move go through, maybe. No, we're going to shield the first move from the Licky Tongue. I know that at this point I should start shielding because I might full send a Brave Bird here, but let's see. We're going to go for a Sky Attack, and the opponent will be shielding the first charge move from our Shadow Skarmory. I'm going to double shield the Skarmory. Remember, we do have a Dragon Claw loaded on my Flygon, but it's going to be very tricky trying to make that swap and try and make a catch at the same time. We swap, we try to get off the charge move, but the opponent throws the charge move on the same time that I end up swapping there. So unfortunately, we don't get off the move, but the opponent doesn't make the catch. Sky Attack takes out the Licky Tongue. We're able to Steel Wing, farm down the Dragonair, Steel Wing, farm down the Clodsire, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we're going to see Galarian Stunfisk in the lead. So this would be great if we're running Mud Shot, but unfortunately we are not running Mud Shot. I'm going to wait for the opponent to throw their energy. They do farm to the Earthquake, so I'm going to use a shield. It is the Earthquake, and now the opponent swaps into Serperior. So I'm going to bank a ton of energy. Now I can swap into my Shadow Skarmory. We can just go for a full Steel Wing farm down. It's not going to be super comfortable for us because Steel Wing isn't super effective like running the Air Slash would be, so unfortunately it is quite an awkward farm down, but I think we still can get there in time. So gonna let the next move go through as the opponent goes for another Frenzy Plant, and now can we get the farm down? Yes, we are able to do so. We have very minimal health, but the opponent is running Mud Shot as the fast move, so it's actually ideal for the opponent there. But we go for the back-to-back Brave Birds. The first one did big damage, the second one will be no shielded by the Stunfisk, and they've got a Mantine in the back, and this is just hard counter city for my opponent as we come in with the Celesteela. The opponent is going to go for an Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace is resisted damage, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we're going to see Defense Form Deoxys in the lead. So a pretty neutral-ish lead for me. The opponent going to go straight for a Psycho Boost, and then assuming they're going to dip. So I'm going to shield up the Psycho Boost. The opponent then swaps into a Vigoroth. So double counter so far. Maybe going to be running a triple counter team, but let's see. We're going to swap, catch the Body Slam onto my Shadow Skarmory, which is very ideal for me. Now, unfortunately, they still will be able to outpace me to the rock side. We'll actually get there at the same time, but they will win CMP, so I'm not going to throw straight away. I'm now going to overfarm here, go for the Sky Attack just before the opponent makes it to the next move. And actually, I'm going to undercharge this, making sure I've got very minimal health for the opponent to get a very small farm down. Now we're going to come back in with the Shadow Flygon. I'm going to go straight for the Dragon Claw, and then I will be swapping into my Celesteela, aiming to catch the charge move, but the opponent swaps out at the exact same time, and it wasn't triple counter. They are running Guzzlord in the back, and now this should be a good matchup for us. We are going to be resisting the fast move pressure from the opponent, but they go for a Crunch, and Crunch gets the debuff, and now that puts me into range where they can perfectly farm me down. We go for a Body Slam here. Body Slam is going to grab the final shield from the opponent, but I think Defense Form Deoxys is maybe one counter away from the next charge move, so I just choose to let the Dragon Claw go through, and unfortunately we do lose that game, but GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we're going to see Gligar in the lead, so I'm going to swap here, trying to catch an Aerial Ace. If the opponent throws, that's still fine with me. We do resist everything unless they go for a Night Slash. They end up going for the dig, and now they come in with a Shadow Poliwrath. Now, a lot of Shadow Poliwrath or regular Poliwrath would typically shield in this matchup because I am part flying. They clearly don't know my moves. Unfortunately, we don't quite make it to a second Body Slam, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. We do at least have that shield advantage, but they're easily going to grab my shields back with the Icy Winds coming from the Shadow Poliwrath. We're going to go for one extra Dragon Tail, go for the next Dragon Claw, and Dragon Claw will be grabbing the final shield from the Shadow Poliwrath as they can now make it to another Icy Wind. Icy Wind grabs my final shield. I'm going to throw straight away here, not taking any risks. I wasn't keeping track of the energy, so maybe could have overfarmed just a little bit there, but I didn't. And now we're going to come in with the Skarmory. The opponent not swapping out here, so clearly going to be something weak to the Skarmory in the back. They go for dig once again. We're not going to throw. We're going to keep hold of the energy. And the reason being is that they've got a Celesteela in the back. So you're going to see Sky Attack doesn't do much damage. We will need to land a Brave Bird to take out the Celesteela. But if we throw a Brave Bird, unfortunately, it means we can't throw back-to-back charge moves. So we're going to farm to 100 energy, go for the Brave Bird here. And now the opponent, I believe, there does have a charge move loaded, so we swap back into the Flygon. We force the opponent to throw an Aerial Ace, taking out the Flygon, but now we can make it to the Sky Attack, and Sky Attack will be enough damage to take out the Gligar, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see Shadow Flygon into a Skeledirge. So a pretty good lead matchup for us. The opponent safe swaps into Credilli, and I've seen this team plenty of times in various orders. I think quite a few people have showcased it on their channels already. It is the #1 ranked team on PvPoke, or at least it was like a week ago, I don't know. But it's going to be the Shadow Poliwrath or regular Poliwrath in the back. But we're able to get the full farm down there as we do correctly shield up a Grass Knot. And the opponent does come in with the Poliwrath, so I'm going for one Dragon Tail, going for the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw will be grabbing a shield from the Poliwrath. And now we're going to swap into our Skarmory, bank a Dragon Claw. I can let this move go through. We will live anything they throw. They go for the Scald, they don't get the debuff here, and the opponent over farming. I predicted that they were going to go for the catch onto Skeledirge, so we actually go for the Brave Bird, dealing huge damage there, and we put them into range where now I can farm down with either Pokemon. I'm actually going to come in with the Celesteela, get the Smackdown farm down, get ahead on energy, so I can just go for a Body Slam up against the Poliwrath. And remember, we do already have a Dragon Claw loaded, so doesn't really matter if they shield that or not. I can just safely let the move go through. They go for the Icy Wind, we can swap straight away into the Flygon, go for a Dragon Claw, and this will be enough damage to take out the Poliwrath, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see Shadow Flygon into Skarmory, so not ideal for us. I'm going to swap straight away into my Celesteela, and we're met with a Whiscash. Now, this isn't ideal because we are running Smackdown as the fast move. They're going to be resisting the Smackdown, so I'm not going to be able to flip this matchup, especially since I haven't even grabbed a shield advantage there. Potentially could have overfarmed, but then I risk of getting debuffed by Scald and then dealing even less damage with the Body Slam. So we're just going to fire off these Body Slams straight away, and the opponent does end up throwing their energy pretty much straight away, which is probably the best case scenario for me. They're going to take me out with the Scald. We can wait out the switch clock here, come in with the Shadow Flygon, and I should be able to live anything they throw, but they don't even make it to a charge move, which is huge. We're now going to swap into our own Skarmory, and the opponent has a Dragonair in the back. Now, I'm not going to throw straight away, hoping the opponent would throw straight away, and that way I get a full Steel Wing in for free. We can now go for a Sky Attack just before they make it to the next charge move. Now, even though we are resisting the Dragon Breath damage here, it is still really chunking, so I'm going to shield the next charge move as well. Actually, no, I'm going to let the move go through. They go for Aqua Tail, and that does hit for neutral damage. It gets us fairly low, but I think a Brave Bird would do more damage from their Skarmory, so I'm now going to use my shield here, and then I'm going to swap into my Shadow Flygon. Well, actually no, the opponent's going to swap into their Skarmory, and the opponent has to go for a Brave Bird to take us out here, because if they go for the Sky Attack, that will not be enough damage to take us out. So now I can go for a Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands gets the Skarmory very low. We can now go for the Brave Bird, and Brave Bird should be enough damage to take out the Skarmory, but the opponent is able to resist a Dragon Breath, farm me down because I debuff my defense, and unfortunately we do lose that game, but a very close game there. So GG's to that opponent, and into the next battle, we're going to see defense form the Deoxys. So once again, looks like they're going to go for a Psycho Boost and then dip, and they're going to dip into, actually no, they're going to stay in initially, then swap into Azumarill, maybe trying to catch a Dragon Claw, but we do hold on to the energy. We then go for a Scorching Sands, and we put them into range where we can come in with our Skarmory and just go straight for a Sky Attack. Now the opponent goes for an Ice Beam there, potentially could have tried to at least farm to the Hydro Pump and potentially grab a shield from us, but we can just go for the Sky Attack. Sky Attack grabs a shield from the opponent. At this point, I'm happy to just let the Skarmory go down. We're going to come back in with the Flygon as we can get a very nice farm down, since they will be double resisting the Dragon Tail damage, and I will come out with nearly a Scorching Sands loaded. So the opponent comes in with a Tropius. We're going to go straight for a Dragon Claw here. I've got a very hard wall to Tropius in the form of Celesteela, so I'm going to bank a Dragon Claw, swap into my Celesteela, and the opponent throwing their energy. This is not going to do much damage. They go for a double resisted Leaf Blade. That really does not hit very hard. We're now going to go for a Body Slam up against Defense Form Deoxys, and we're in a pretty good position. Either they bait with a Psycho Boost and then a Thunderbolt probably doesn't take us out, or they go for a Thunderbolt, meaning they're not going to make it to a second Thunderbolt, and now Body Slam will be enough damage to take out Defense Form Deoxys, and we can just very easily smack down, farm down the Tropius from this range. The opponent goes for an Aerial Ace, doesn't do much damage, and we're able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we're going to see Medicham in the lead. So they can be running Ice Punch. We're just going to stay in this matchup. I hope that the opponent throws straight away, and they do. We are at a fairly low elo at this point, so opponent not throwing at the best timing there, so that's fine with me. We're definitely going to capitalize. We're going to go for a Dragon Claw. Unfortunately, that doesn't quite take them out there. I could have potentially farmed them down, but if the opponent got the new mechanic, then I would have gone down 2 shields or lost the switch advantage, which I certainly didn't want to do. So we're now going to come in with the Celesteela. The opponent has a Carbink in the back. Now, this is a little bit tricky. I'm going to go for the Bulldoze straight away. The opponent probably thinks I'm going to be running a steel type move, so they do shield that up. So you could say I probably could have gone for that Body Slam bait and gotten away with it, but now we only make it to a Body Slam. They've seen Bulldoze, they know Bulldoze, even though it's super effective, it's not going to do much damage, so they can safely let that go through. We're now going to come in with the Shadow Skarmory as they go for a Rock Slide, and the opponent's going to stay in with their Carbink, and the reason is they've got Victory Belt in the back. Now this is actually a little bit of a tricky situation here, because obviously our fast move is going to hit for double super effective damage up against the Carbink, but we can't really just go and farm down the Victory Bell there. So instead, I come in, I go for the Dragon Claw, and then I undercharge it, meaning the Carbink gets very little farm, and that will allow me to make it to a Brave Bird or a Sky Attack. Either way, we will be able to take out the Carbink from this range before they make it to a move, and Brave Bird easily takes out the Carbink, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we're going to see another Dragon in the lead. So we will stay in this matchup initially, eventually swap out, and we're going to swap. We're going to catch the move onto our Celesteela once again, and the opponent goes for Aqua Tail there, which is quite interesting. I guess Aqua Tail is neutral damage up against the Flygon, but now we're hit by a massive Core Breaker in the form of Dedenne. They go for a Discharge. It takes me out before I even make it to a Body Slam, and this is not ideal. Of course, they can well, we are triple resisting the Thunder Shock damage, but a Play Rough would be taking us out. We go for the Scorching Sands. Unfortunately, the opponent does use their shield there. I'm going to use my shield, and the opponent baits with a Discharge. That's triple resisted. This is just another Discharge, so I can live this. I've got to be very careful of a Snipe, and the opponent instead doesn't go for the Snipe. They go for the catch, and Scorching Sands takes out the Dragonair, but unfortunately, I've got no energy to take out the Dedenne. I'm going to swap straight away. They come in with Celesteela, so this actually isn't too bad for me. But this is where you're going to see Shadow Skarmory, I think, compared to the regular Skarmory, just isn't that good, because 2 Future Sights are basically going to put me into range where they can just farm me down with the Dedenne. So, oops. Sorry, I just knocked the mic over again. Did it in like the previous video, but yeah, you can see we're already in the red health. I tried to hold onto my energy so that I could throw it up against the Dedenne. We go for a Sky Attack there. Sky Attack grabs the shield. At this point, I'm thinking if I swap into my Flygon, we might still make it to a charge move, but we're barely not able to do so. Can we at least get the farm down? No, we can't do that either. And unfortunately, Discharge will be taking out the Skarmory, and unfortunately, we do lose that game there. But GG's to that opponent. Into the next game, another Defense Form Deoxys in the lead. So once again, probably just going to go for that Psycho Boost and then dip. So we're going to use our shield like we always do. Psycho Boost will be grabbing the shield, and they swap into a Azumarill straight away this time. So this time we're just going to go straight for that Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands does not get the attack debuff, which is unfortunate, but we can come in to the Skarmory, and this time the opponent did actually farm to a Hydro Pump that does huge damage, but we can still make it to back-to-back, well, nearly back-to-back charge boosts here. I think we've got enough health where we can just go for one extra Steel Wing up against the defense form Deoxys, which I assume will be coming back in, and we can just go straight for the Brave Bird here. No point going for a Sky Attack. We reach both charge moves at the same time, so we've got the shield there anyways. We now come back in with our Shadow Flygon and potentially try and catch the move onto our Celesteela, and we're able to do it successfully this time around. This will be a resisted Psycho Boost. They're going to stay in with their defense form Deoxys, bank another Psycho Boost, which does make a lot of sense, but now they come in to their Clodsire. Now Clodsire, like we've said already, does get completely walled by the Celesteela unless they're running Stone Edge, so let's see if the opponent is running Stone Edge, and they are not running Stone Edge as they go for an Earthquake, but that still does a ton of damage. They make it to another charge move. I'm just going to let this move go through. They actually were running Stone Edge, so not sure why they went for the Earthquake the first time around, but doesn't really make a difference to me. We're going to go for a Dragon Claw here. I think this defense form Deoxys is low enough where we can just Dragon Tail, farm them all the way down. They throw at 4 counters, so they're still 1 away from the next charge move, and we can just get the Dragon Tail farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.